Just a lady who makes meals, right? That's what Emily, who brought a cake while I was in the hospital, said. Daniel saw how I reacted to it and got furious. What are you doing? Apologize to Emily. I swear to God, I didn't do anything to deserve such anger. It's time to tell them the truth. Did you look inside the cake? I am Susan, a 72-year-old homemaker, working at a part-time job making meals. Ever since I was young, influenced by my mom, I loved cooking. After high school, I decided to attend culinary school. I got my chef's license when I graduated, and have been working at a catering company ever since. I've spent years making healthy and tasty meals in company cafeterias, hospitals, and nursing homes. Though I was a full-time employee for many years, now at my age, I work part-time. Still, I'm happy to keep working, doing what I love, cooking. At home, I do all the cooking and chores, but Daniel hardly ever thanks me. He seems to think men shouldn't cook. He can't even find food or drinks in the kitchen without calling me. Hey, Susan, make me some coffee. Right. I told you where the coffee beans, pot, and cups are, didn't I? That's something you should do, Susan. He's so proud of being a former division head at a top company, but he'd be helpless with household chores if anything happened to me. We have 2 kids, our eldest son Lucas and our daughter Cindy. Lucas got married 2 years ago. Lucas, over 30, was at the right age for marriage. I was thrilled when he introduced his fiancée at the perfect time. He wanted to introduce her earlier, but ended up registering their marriage on her birthday due to schedule conflicts. Lucas had always been responsible, and I'm not about to start criticizing his choice of a partner at my age. On the promised day, we finally met her at our house. She was slender, petite, with big eyes, a stark contrast to Lucas. Emily, Lucas's wife, lived in her parents' house until now, working since graduating from junior college. Dad and Mom were strict, never let me live alone. I'm new to housework, but I'll do my best. Her high-pitched voice and fluttering eyelashes as she looked up reminded me of a TV idol. Right after she finished, Daniel's voice, unable to hide his joy, rang out. That earnestness is wonderful. Just be yourself. Her earnest and cute demeanor immediately won Daniel over, even after just one meeting. Her cuteness and earnestness, something I don't have, must have been refreshing for Daniel, but it gives me an uneasy feeling. For a while we talked about Emily's student days, her career, and how she started dating Lucas. But then the mood suddenly changed. Susan, what happened to your hand? I cut it a bit at work, maybe because I was rushed. That looks painful. Speaking of being rushed, what do you mean? I work as a chef part-time. Even though I'm this age, I moved from a full-time to a part-time job, but I still work full hours. When Emily learned I worked as a chef, her expression was indescribable. Part-time as a chef? So you're like people who cook in cafeterias? Yeah, like a cafeteria worker. As I laughed off Emily's comment, Daniel started teasing me. Susan's always cooking, at home and work. It's crazy, right? Just a woman constantly making meals. Daniel probably thought it was funny. Normally, Lucas would chide Daniel, but he was in the bathroom, leaving no one to stop Daniel's prattle. I was so taken aback, I couldn't say a word. Then, to my surprise, it was her who made things worse. Just a person who cooks meals, that's true. I only cook for my beloved Lucas, so it's fine. Her words shocked me, and I was speechless. But she casually continued talking to Lucas when he returned from the bathroom. I was just hearing about it, but Susan's such a hard worker. I'll take a leaf out of her book and do my best, too. Even after Lucas and Emily left in the evening, I couldn't shake off the feeling. The way they belittled the job I've been proud of for decades. The facade they put on in front of Lucas made me slightly uneasy. I thought Lucas and Emily, and we as a couple, were on good terms. We would give them souvenirs from trips, share extra dishes I made. We even celebrated birthdays with nice dinners. But the more I interacted with them, the more irritated I became with Emily. We're connected as friends on social media, and even her posts bother me. In a post about celebrating Daniel's birthday at a restaurant, I was unnaturally cropped out of the pictures. She even posted about the plum wine and cheese I made as if they were her creations. Annual plum winemaking. Looking forward to drinking with my husband. The cheese should be right by now. Made it with love, so it must be delicious. Emily, as a meticulously living homemaker, is gaining followers. Her posts quickly attract many comments. I was staring at the screen, filled with comments praising Emily. Surely no one realizes that she's claiming someone else's work as her own. Isn't it embarrassing to blatantly lie about making something yourself? I thought it over, but decided it didn't really affect me, so I should just maintain a polite distance. However, I soon realized Emily was more dangerous than I thought. I had some concerning results in a health checkup and had to see a specialist at a major hospital. They diagnosed me with cancer, and I had to be hospitalized for tests and treatment. I'm going to be in the hospital for a while for cancer treatment, so please take care of the house. How convenient for you to just decide to be hospitalized and leave the house stuff to me. How can he say such a thing when his wife is ill and going to the hospital? But arguing with Daniel would only cause more trouble, so I held back. Don't say that. I'd be happy if you could visit me sometimes. Who'd bother to visit you? I don't know the first thing about running the house. Right, maybe Lucas would know better than you. I talked to Lucas, and he promised to visit me between work, which relieved me. Since there were still a few days before Lucas's visit, I decided to gather the laundry and other things I needed help with. Then someone opened the door to my hospital room. I heard from Lucas and was worried, so I came to visit. Emily came into the room, holding a white box from a cake shop near the station. Oh, Emily, you're busy too. I feel bad. Thank you for visiting. Lucas is coming next Sunday, but Daniel hasn't come at all. I'm happy you came. Emily smiling, placing the white box on the table. Get well soon. I bought the cake you said you liked, so please eat some. Thank you. Let's eat it together. But Emily, waving her hands lightly, started preparing to leave. I have some errands to run, so please enjoy it, Susan. Oh, there are 2 cakes in the box. Emily left after a brief chat. Despite her past problematic comments, I was touched she visited and brought a gift. Just as Emily left, Daniel entered the room. Daniel, did you come to see me? I'm here on an errand. Emily was just here, right? While speaking, he plopped down on the chair beside me. Emily just visited. Lucas will come in 2 or 3 days, but she left these cakes as gifts beforehand. She said there were 2. Do you want to eat one? Typical Emily, always thoughtful. I'll have the cheesecake. I felt a sense of unease at his words and suddenly realized my suspicions were correct. I snatched the box back and crushed it into the trash bin at my feet. Hey, what are you doing? Emily bought that cake especially for you. You're really the worst, Susan. Are you trying to make trouble now? I immediately questioned Daniel. Did you look inside the cake? No, I haven't. What about it? He clearly didn't understand what I was getting at. Don't talk about Emily like she's the villain. If you think it's sabotage, then eat the one that isn't cheesecake right here in front of me. I'd rather not. I don't like whipped cream. Who mentioned cake with whipped cream? Daniel looked confused, seemingly unaware of his odd statement. I only said there were 2 cakes, yet without seeing them, you chose the cheesecake. Isn't that strange? Well, I just guessed it might be cheesecake. It seemed he still didn't grasp the important point, so I decided to enlighten him. Also, after I threw the cake in the bin, I only asked you to eat the non-cheesecake one. What did you say? I don't remember what I said. Ha ha. Daniel laughed, looking away. It was his habit when lying, clearly trying to cover something up. You said you didn't want to because you dislike whipped cream, as if you knew there was a cheesecake and a whipped cream cake. That's just nitpicking over trivial things. You're the one playing dirty. He turned red with anger, trying to dismiss the situation, but I pressed on. You haven't opened the box or seen its contents, yet you knew what was inside. I figured out that you already knew what was in it. Don't be ridiculous. I didn't see Emily buy the cakes. I absolutely know nothing. You can keep denying it. Just try the non-cheesecake one. If nothing's wrong, I'll apologize and deeply regret accusing Emily. Upon hearing deep apology, Daniel's eyes lit up, thinking he had an opportunity to turn the tables. But this wasn't the end of what I had to say. If there's something wrong with the cake, you'll call Emily right away. I retrieved the cake box from the trash and opened it. Inside, just as Daniel said, were a cheesecake and a fruit cake covered in whipped cream. The fruit cake with a lot of whipped cream was a bit crumbled, but still fine for a taste test. I placed it on a paper plate and handed it to Daniel with a disposable fork. As soon as Daniel took a bite, he grimaced and muttered quietly, "Ugh, salty, terrible." The cake is salty, right? I knew it. Now, as promised, call Emily here right now, and don't say anything strange to her on the phone. True to my word, I had Daniel call Emily to the hospital room. Reluctantly, he dialed her number, but his usual cheerful demeanor nowhere in sight. It's no fun for him with me, seeing through everything, watching over his shoulder. He looked like a henchman reporting a failed mission to a boss character. While I was thinking this, Emily soon entered the room. "What's the matter? I rushed over after Daniel's call. Did I forget something? I can be so absent-minded. Sorry." Emily seemed unaware that I had caught on to her plan. I pushed the box with the cake she had bought, now retrieved from the trash, towards her. "Yes, you forgot something. This cake was meant for me, right?" "Of course. I remembered you saying that you loved cakes with whipped cream." "You knew about my taste disorder due to cancer treatment, didn't you?" Emily looked genuinely surprised, covering her mouth with her hand. "Was that the case? I had no idea." She still seemed to be playing dumb, so I decided to corner her. "Daniel said this cream is salty. Did you know that too much salt is bad for my treatment?" It was then that Emily finally realized her plan had failed, glaring furiously at Daniel. Seeing no point in attacking her accomplice, Emily seemed to be trying to concoct an excuse. "That's strange. Salty whipped cream? Oh, I know the bakery must have mixed up sugar and salt. I'll talk to them, don't worry." "So you didn't know about the taste disorder, and the cake is salty, that's your excuse?" "It's not my fault. I didn't know, right? If you keep attacking every mistake, people will hate you. I'm sorry. I don't have the cooking knowledge like you. I'll take my leave now." Emily tried to leave the room, but I quickly locked the door and leaned against it to prevent her from leaving. "That's something the victim says, not you. You're going to talk to the bakery? After bringing a homemade cake in a bakery box, what will you tell them?" "So what then? Do you never make mistakes? Amazing. I respect that." Emily's tone was provocative. Engaging in this fight would only disrupt my plan and be a loss for me. I operated the tablet lying on my bed, opening the search engine. The search history displayed terms like cancer treatment interference food, salt accelerates cancer, taste disorder salt. It's odd. This tablet has search history I don't recall making. "Are you sure you're not mistaken, Susan?" "I haven't used this tablet recently. The history seems to be from around the time you and the others visited during the New Year. I remember. You wanted to watch a live stream of a TV idol using this tablet." I didn't miss Emily's face twitching. "You mean to say I searched about cancer progression when I just borrowed it? Stop making false accusations." "It's not an accusation. It's a fact. Look, this icon? It's your favorite TV idol. Seems like you forgot to log out." Emily, seeing the icon, looked anxious, her hands trembling. "I knew you disliked me, but there are limits to what's acceptable, right? This is like poisoning. It's a crime." Emily, labeled a criminal, became furious. "I did nothing wrong. You have always been nasty to me. I just showed you that being able to cook doesn't mean you're superior. Be thankful. I couldn't recall bragging, nor did I talk much about work or cooking with Emily. A few times I brought homemade cheese and side dishes with me. I never intended to boast. If my stories made you uncomfortable, I apologize, but that doesn't justify your actions. Emily lost her composure in the hospital room. You don't get it, old woman. Think you're so great just because you can cook? Getting all proud over tasty dishes? Breathless, Emily was joined by Daniel, who suddenly interjected. He had been like a ghost in the corner until now. Exactly. Women should be charming, but you, always working, never showed any desire to protect the home. Just because you have cooking qualifications doesn't mean you can be arrogant. Daniel, you're still here. You're really siding with Emily. I knew you were here to ensure I ate the salt-laden cake. So what if I am? It's none of your business. I might soon be living with Emily and Lucas. You can manage on your own, so you should just quietly live somewhere else. So, in my absence, Daniel, Emily, and Lucas had arranged to live together. This was news to me, and Daniel's tone made it clear he wanted me out of the house fast. Daniel, have you lost your mind? Living together must be Emily's idea, right? Yes, unlike you. She's kind and approachable. She felt sorry for me being alone at home, because you don't take care of things properly. That's why I always insisted Daniel learn to do things around the house himself. Is this salted cake a scheme for my medical insurance or something? How did you know? I noticed you reading insurance policies and calling the insurance company. They called me and told me everything. That's how I found out. The thought that Daniel and Emily planned to extend my treatment for insurance money, intending to live together with Emily and Lucas, was horrifying. I was lucky to discover their plan through the search history and the call from the insurance company. What if I hadn't noticed? I shudder to think. Lucas, unaware of Daniel and Emily's scheme, was appalled at their malice towards me and my treatment, and decided to divorce Emily. She complained a lot about not wanting to divorce. But Lucas was firm in his decision, understanding that staying with her could lead to unpredictable outcomes. He couldn't forgive her casual attitude towards her actions and did not rescind the divorce. After successful cancer treatment, I was discharged from the hospital. I couldn't overexert myself, but I managed to return to my part-time culinary job. Being in a dispatch company, my workplace varies, and my first assignment post-recovery was at a regional hospital. While preparing today's breakfast, I noticed many comments about the special menu. Is this name familiar to you? The food tag had a familiar name, though the surname was different. Soon, I discovered Emily was hospitalized there. Following the divorce, her mental balance had been disturbed, leading to her hospitalization. She's become notorious among the staff for complaining about meals and daily life. When delivering meals, I encountered Emily arguing loudly with a staff member. So it's true. You're just a lady who makes meals. This old lady got me hospitalized. Why not admit her instead? Still talking nonsense, Emily? I have work to do and can't spare time for you. Among the staff, Emily was now widely disliked and treated as a troublesome patient. Oblivious to how her actions had made her so unpopular. She hasn't changed, always finding excuses and unable to face reality. With the divorce, Daniel and Emily's plan to live together fell through. Despite the initial plan to live with Lucas and the divorced Emily, it would have been awkward for Daniel to stay as before. He seemed uncomfortable. Lately, my eldest daughter, Cindy, now with more free time, occasionally visits, which makes me happy. The most significant change, however, is Daniel starting to learn household chores. With Cindy's help, he's caught between us, learning the ways of housekeeping. It's essential for him to be self-sufficient, given the uncertainty of the future. Educating my husband at this age is more challenging than expected, but it's necessary for both our futures. When making a pot of foo, you cut the ingredients, brown the meat, sauté the onions until translucent, add wine and canned tomatoes, simmer, and season with salt and pepper. I never knew making a pot of food took so much effort. I was wrong to say you took shortcuts. That's okay. You didn't know, but you can learn now. Daniel is starting to appreciate how easy he had it and how challenging household chores are. He's even begun to express gratitude. I hope to rebuild a good relationship with him and return to a life that feels truly ours.